guys, so today Max and I interviewed forward Nicholas Deakin-Poot, who currently plays on the St. John Sea Dogs of the QMJHL, but will go to Acadia University next year. Hope you guys enjoy the video. My first question is, growing up, were all of your friends into hockey, or did they have other interests and hobbies that they participated in?
Yeah, like the majority of them did. Um, I grew up basically all my friends were like hockey players, and I played hockey lacrosse with them. And then like we would compete in like school events against each other. I know a couple guys would like kind of like play a couple extra sports. Like I know one of my buddies quit lacrosse for one season to play golf, and then he came back, and now he's actually a lacrosse player. He played I do believe 5 years junior A lacrosse. But basically, like all my friends were like into hockey, into lacrosse, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like just all my friends are like just in a mostly basketball and soccer, and some of my teammates are also like my close friends, but for the most part, they my close friends play other sports.
Have you always been a right wing, and has there ever been any like doubt in your position?
I mean, did you get that from Central Scouting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so my position kind of switched back and forth when I was in Guelph. Um, I kind of stuck with center when I came to St. John, and I like center better. It's just I just like taking draws better. I like seeing the ice better, kind of thing. I just find I'm more naturally better in center than I am at wing. But I mean, like I can play both. Like I can adapt to both. But yeah, like I mean, there was not really a chance of me going D. Like I mean, I'm always up for the challenge, but
Yeah.
there never gave that kind of a try. I mean, like I said, I'm up for a challenge, but right now I'm going to stick with center or wing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Max and I both play goalie, so you can't really switch teams or switch positions.
But you could, but that might be a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, I did it for a practice once, for like just as a joke.
Yeah, I had one of my European players, Max Chekovic. He went goalie for one practice, and but he didn't like it.
Yeah, I switched with my good friend and when he was goalie, he's like, I can't save a thing. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a goalie named Zach Boutier this year. There was one game that we played, and he had 70 shots against. Yeah, we had
Wow.
we had a back-to-back game against Moncton, and we weren't playing very well. And in 4.5 periods, so like continuing into the next game, he had 100 shots against.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have crazy endurance to be a goalie.
yeah.
I mean, in my team went to Canada or Montreal for a tournament, and in 6 periods I had around 150 shots against. We got shelled.
Okay, well then.
Yeah. Yeah. My next question is, as a kid, how did you get onto a AAA team, and who are some of the people that like helped you get to there?
So I kind of like, you know how there's like an age group where there's like you can join AAA kind of thing. It was
Yeah.
like or whatever the age group is. I can't really remember. I think it's like 6 or 7. You can move up to AAA. At least it is in Ontario for me. Um, Basically, my dad was like, "Do you want to give it a try?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So I went out and I made the team, and basically I played AAA the whole time. One year I went down, but that was just kind of like a little bit of politics, but like that's no big deal. Went back up the next year. But yeah, basically like my family helped me out get there, and like I basically played with, I'd say, the same core guys for 9+ years, like growing up, and like some of them, like for instance, like Matthew Struthers, he played 5 years in the O, and he just signed an AHL contract just recently actually, and so I don't know what they're doing with like the whole COVID um, regulations. So we'll see how he fares out there, and it'll be exciting to watch him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of like it's. I mean, there's a club that I know, and I have a bunch of friends that play AAA there, and they basically say that like from a young age, all the coaches just watch you, and you all start at the same level. And if the coaches pick like 30 kids from like that age group who they see like really want like have the drive and also have the skill set, obviously, as from a young age to play, and they just select them.
Yeah, yeah. Ours is a little different. We basically just do like the classic tryout kind of thing. Like we just kind of whoever shows up to the tryouts can come out, and then do you guys have releases in the States? You know what
What
those
do you
are?
mean, like you can be sent down?
So like, yeah, I'm like in minor hockey, like with like Canadian rules, we have this thing where you have to, or at least in Ontario, I don't know about other places, but if you want, like, let's say, like for instance, my hometown is Georgetown, so like my AAA team is Halton Hills. That's just like the name of it. If I wanted to leave that, I had to get a release from the team to go to a different team.
Oh, they
So
have that for double organization. Yeah.
it
From
was
what
like,
I've heard, I mean, for me, it's basically like it's like you just leave and you try out for whatever team you want and you choose. I
yeah,
mean,
like
this year I was supposed to try out for a different team, but because of COVID, they just canceled the tryouts, so that sucks.
yeah, I heard.
Yeah. And also, as you were saying earlier, yes, a lot of U12, U14 teams are kind of political in a way. Like if you've been in the organization a long time, you've got like a better shot over another player. But yeah, I can see that. Also, what would you consider your greatest strength that separates you from other forwards?
I mean, like I've been used for my size and my speed a lot. Um, like they would just stick me in front of the net kind of thing. But I mean, like a lot of like my coaches, like my biggest asset would be like my speed. Like they've always said like I need to use my speed more than like I need to drive the net kind of thing. So like kind of size, speed, shot, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did it feel wearing an A for your last season of AAA hockey?
It felt good. Obviously, like you get that you get that leadership role, right? Like I mean, you can't abuse it. Obviously, like you have to be a role model to like your team and the people watching. Um, so yeah, like it's like it's nice, but you also have to hold yourself to a higher standard, right? Like um, that people look up to you, people in the stands, people in on the team, they definitely look up to you, especially when they're down. They need someone to look up to, and they'll probably go to a leader with a C or an A on their jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, personally, I've never been captain. I mean, goalies can't really be captains. And also, my team doesn't really do captains just because, like, we haven't done it for a while. And the only reason we did it is because I think it was either like rules or just my my coach like actually saw three leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had so 2 years in a row. My last 2 years in St. John, um, we had our captain leave or get traded at Christmas. So
Wow.
my fourth year, a new captain was named, but last year they didn't name another captain because they were like, "There's no point of doing that again because we're just gonna have to pick a new captain next year anyway." So
Yeah,
like, literally just had three assistant captains at the end of the year.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I was a captain of my team like 1 or 2 years ago, and yeah, I definitely agree with you on you can't like abuse your power. Like just players look up to you, and you gotta set a good example for them. Yeah.
Especially like
Um.
they see you flipping out at the ref, or you see that like losing your crap on the ice, like they're just gonna kind of like be like, well, if he's doing it, I can do it.
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, personally for me, I see the A as like an apprenticeship, not really like assistant captain, because you're basically like the captain takes you under his wing and he teaches you like the responsibilities of being a leader. And I mean, also with that, like with a letter on your jersey, you can talk to the goalie and or ref. And I mean, I'm already a goalie, so I can talk to the ref as long as I want anyway. So I don't really care if I get a letter, but
Yeah, yeah. I know a couple. I know a couple of guys, goalies that would get away with some random stuff. Give them a little bump on the back and they fall. They'll draw a penalty.
yeah, I've drawn a couple penalties before. I called a ref high during a game once,
Really.
and I got a
I'm the
penalty.
drawing penalties. I'm the one who takes penalties.
Yeah,
Especially if it's like a 3-on-3. We just had a 3-on-3, and all the penalties are penalty shots. So I did not care at all because I am good at breakaways. I think I took 4 cross-checking penalties in a game.
Solid.
solid.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a younger forward?
Like in what context?
Like younger forward trying to make it to like next level, like double A to triple A, for example.
Honestly, like so, like if you're thinking like looking in your draft year, um, you're gonna see tweets go out, right? You're gonna see like all the scouts and like all like the people who are making lists. They're gonna tweet certain things. I had people tweeting about me, the ups and the downs of my game, and kind of thing. And like my parents were reading all about that kind of thing. You get the guys who will find every single negative possible in your game, and they'll bombard you with it, and you feel like you're just being attacked, and it sucks. But honestly, like if you're reading those, just like you can let it crumble you, or you can take it and motivate you, right? Because these guys have seen a lot of people, right? So saying like for me, for instance, like I need to work on my stick handling and puck control and confidence with the puck, right? That's always been my weak suit, right? So, and I've been working with a coach for the last 3 years, and it's helped me tremendously. So like if I got that, I would take it and be like, okay, well that's what I got to work on. But again, like so, like that list that goes out. Yes, it's nice to be on the list. It's nice to see your name. It's nice to see a number beside it. Honestly, it doesn't matter because you're going to be going through, like if it's your draft year or even the year before, they might be ranking the year before. Don't pay attention to it. I was ranked 30th at the beginning of the season. And then like a quarter of the way through the season, I went down to 25. And then by like midway, I was like 80th. And then when I was drafted 54th. So it's everywhere, right? It's what the team wants. It's just those people putting opinions out kind of thing. You can listen to it, but don't focus on it, right? If you're dropping, sure, you like pick up your game. Like that's you should be doing that anyway. But honestly, from every scout that like I've talked to, had an interview with, like the guy that scouted me for Guelph, he actually is now a scout for Arizona, and he came down to he actually he's like the scout for the Maritime division in the Q, and he would come down and watch my games, and he would just give me pointers, right? And I know a lot of people, like numbers are great, goals, assists, that like plus minus, that's all great, but like at the end of the day, it's the person that's going to be working hard kind of thing. Like you can only have one or two Sidney Crosbys, McDavids kind of thing. Like they're once in a generation kind of a player, right? So once that person's gone, who's the one that's going to be the workhorse behind them kind of thing, right? So like if you aren't a highly ranked guy, it's not the end, right? Like I was a guy who would score when I was in like Atom hockey. I was scoring 50 goals in 50 games. As obviously the ages grew up, my numbers started going down, and once I got into the O and into the Q, I was noticing my numbers were like plummeting, and I had no idea why. And like obviously it's because the level rose, and I just had to change my game, right? And I went from the guy that people depended on to go score to the guy that now is depending on to stop the other team from scoring, right? So like I'll be blocking shots, I'll be on the PK, I'll be the last guy out of my zone kind of thing. You just have to adapt to what you think is the best game for you and what's going to help out the team and your best talent for the team.
Yeah.
For sure.
And my next question is, how did you get onto the Guelph Storm?
So I actually went through the draft on that. So I played my draft year with the Holton Hurricanes. And then draft day came, and like you had like all like the interviews and stuff like that. You have scouts calling you in for like a 15-minute interview here and there, or like sending you a letter or a phone call. And then draft day comes, and like to be honest, those interviews are nice, but again, like just talks before the draft, because I had out of the 20 teams, I had like 12 teams contact me, and Guelph was not one of them. So it at the end, it didn't really matter, because I was being told, oh, I should be going top 2 rounds, and then I went third, right? So it really you just have to work your hardest to get up to the draft day, and then after that, like it's up to the scouts what they want and what the team needs, kind of thing. So yeah, to get to Guelph, I just went through the draft, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess it's just like they believe in you, and they just see that you're the guy that fits the mold, and like even if like they didn't even if they didn't meet with you, like they still think you can turn out fine,
Mm-hmm.
and so just believing in you.
Yeah, like for me, like especially like a 15, 16-year-old, I was sitting there like, oh, this is so awesome. Like I'm getting all these calls, and I'm getting all these interviews and these emails and these letters in the mail, kind of thing, saying you're interested. But like now that I'm progressed through my CHL career, like you look back on it and you're like, those calls, like they were nice, but like at the end of the day, those like they said, like those are words, kind of thing. And like you really have to prove yourself, and you have to catch that one scout's eye that really needs you to fit their mold, like you said, kind of thing, right? Because like there can be interest, but like at the end of the day, someone has to take you.
Yeah.
So you've won a few different numbers, like 16 and 26. If you had to go into a number next season, what number would you wear and why?
I'll probably try to stay with number 16. But I grew up playing with number 18. So yeah, like I mean 18 or 16, but like probably 16 just to kind of keep it the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean personally, I wear 30 because of Henrik Lundqvist. I'm a giant Ranger fan.
Nice.
Yeah. I wear 40, but I think I'm changing.
Allison too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And how did it feel changing teams and leagues, like going from the Guelph Storm to the St. John Sea Dogs?
I mean, being like a 17, 18-year-old, and like you're just kind of you're just breaking the surface of like a new, like you're just getting into the O, and all of a sudden like people are like, yeah, by the way, you're not fitting the team anymore, we're gonna let you go. It's kind of like you're just kind of sitting there, and just kind of like a kick to the gut kind of thing. You're just like, oh well, reality hit real quick, right? Especially like no draft into the NHL, and then you're let go, right? And then you really like you get a rude awakening, and you're like, all right, so this is the real deal, kind of thing. Like you really need to work hard, kind of thing, right? And like I'm not going to say that I had my best 2 years in Guelph. Like I know I could have done better, but I just thought like that was the best thing for me, like moving teams, but like I mean moving leagues, like that's a whole other category. But like the fresh start that I got with St. John was like the best thing that's ever happened to me, because like someone like believed in me enough, and then I was able to make a 5-year career to that. So like yes, it sucks, but it's like what you do with it is like the most important thing, kind of thing. Because someone like famous quote, like someone's trash is another man's treasure, right? And like I'm not saying I was a game changer in every game or something like that, but like I became a pretty important player for St. John, and I felt pretty good about that. And like again, like I wasn't a leading goal scorer. I wasn't the guy that they turned to score the goal, but I was on the ice like near the end of my career. I was on the ice for close to 25 minutes a night, kind of thing, right? So like I went from Guelph in my second year playing on average in 8 minutes a night or less to someone who is just working hard for St. John and being a key player for them. So like I said, I think it's more of like what you do with it, and like I think it was the best thing for me because it gave me a new start.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, personally, like I kind of wanted sort of like a new start just because my team wasn't so good last year, and like even before that we won the state championship and we got second in our district, and like it kind of hurt, which is kind of why I wanted to switch teams. But I mean, now we're like our coach left, um and yeah, like everything's changing for our team, and yeah, I think it's probably like one of the better things to happen because our coach wasn't like so good towards the end. Like even towards the end of like 2 seasons ago when we won, he started like getting a lot more strict. Like he, I know hockey's supposed to be strict, but he got way more strict than he needed to be because he played pro hockey, so he like started like turning into like his pro hockey form, and yeah, we definitely didn't like that. And I mean, his daughter moved to play for an all girls team, so I mean, personally for me that was good. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like I've had pretty strict coaches. Um, I mean, I'm not going to say I've had the strictest coaches ever, but I've had some coaches that will put you on the line just because um, you mess up a drill once and you're on the line, kind of thing. But I mean, there's definitely, like you said, there's definitely a level of strict that like is acceptable. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, right? Like you're supposed to have fun with the sport, right? Not everything has to be exactly perfect all the time, right? Like everyone's gonna make mistakes. We're all human, kind of thing, right? Like, I mean, if everyone's messing around in practice, then yeah, for sure. Or if you're not focused, then yeah. But I mean, like at the end of the day, like if someone's having an off day, just make sure that they know. But yeah, like you said, there definitely should be a line of like where how strict the coach should be, kind of thing.
yeah, Max and I have the same goalie coach, and whenever we mess up, he gets really mad at us.
yeah. As a younger player, did you always want to take the OHL route, or is there any other like junior league you wanted to try out, or no?
So like in my hometown, there's a junior A team called the Georgetown Raiders. And me and my buddies, we grew up and we went, there was a junior A hockey team and there was a junior B lacrosse team. So we would always go to like almost every game, kind of thing. And we all were like, oh, we can't wait to be um, one of these guys, either playing hockey or lacrosse or both, because I know some guys did both. Um, and then I got to the age of like draft, and I was kind of like, yeah, like I still want to play for them. And I was actually trying out for them because Guelph was kind of hemming and hawing about me. And then looking back on it, it was kind of funny because I was just sitting there like, I've always wanted to be like a Raider, and I never even got the chance to, kind of thing. But like, I mean, you kind of can't pass up 5 years in the CHL, right? Like, not many people can say that. So like, it's kind of like it's kind of funny that it was just like my whole childhood. I was like, oh, I can't wait to be them, and then I actually was in a league higher. So I mean, yes, but no at the same time. Like I wanted to be a Raider, but I'm happy that I was able to go into a higher league.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I've always wanted to like go up in a higher league, but our team wouldn't let us, even though we like show like we've shown that we can be a lot better than our league. Yeah, but just our coaches just don't want us to like play up in like different leagues, and I mean that hurts, but I mean you get the prospect of winning another championship, and that's always fun. Yeah. So a while ago, we actually interviewed one of your teammates, Brady Burns, and how does it feel playing with him? Because for our interview, he was actually really nice, and he was a cool guy.
Yeah. He's probably showed you his true form. He's a great guy in the room, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know many guys who stands at like 5 foot, whatever, 6 or whatever how tall he is, like 100 and I think he put on some weight, so probably like 145, 150 pounds now, and he puts up like 27 goals, 26 goals in the season, like against guys who are like 6'3" and up, kind of thing. Like, I mean, the guy knows the game really well, and yeah, and he's a good guy in the room, right? You know, he knows what he's talking about, and like it's too bad you didn't quiz him, because if you would have asked him about any guy in the league, he could have told you any stat he wanted to. Like he had an interview with the St. John media guy, and they played a game with him, and they said we're gonna name a player in the league, and you should tell us what way he shoots. And he named every single player, and it was 100% accurate. He named every single player and the way they shoot.
And the way they shoot?
Yeah, like left or right. He knows. I don't know how he knows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how he knows that, but like he somehow knew it.
I can't even keep track.
I can't even keep track of the guys on my team.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, all I know is that I'm supposed to be shooting right, but I'm ambidextrous, so I shoot left for goalie, and it's very uncomfortable.
actually, the funny thing is so I'm attending Acadia, and I'm playing for their school, like their school team for hockey. And Brady's dad is actually the coach there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, in 2017-18, you went from playing 20 QMJHL games to playing 58 in 18-19. What was the jump like? Because you obviously had like a big year in 2018-19, and you also put up 5 times the points. What was that like?
I mean, I think that led on to like the breakout year, led on to me being able to be a 20 in the Q. But the jump from my third year to the fourth, it was honestly like it felt really good. Like it's kind of like one of those ones where like it's finally working out for me. But the reason why I actually only played 20 games my third year was because I broke my hand twice.
Right.
But the way I broke my hand was actually a really dumb way, and it showed me a lot as not only a player but as a person, as in like controlling emotions on the bench and like on the ice.
What happened?
So I was like I said, I went from in minor hockey, I went from the guy who scores or the guy who's on the power play with the puck kind of thing to a defensive role, not letting the other team score on me, like shutting down their top guys. And I went on a streak of like 6 or 7 games without getting scored on. And I was playing like really well kind of thing. And then I made a bad turnover and they went down and scored. And I got pissed off at myself and I actually punched the boards. And I broke my 5th metacarpal, which is like this one. And I was out it was right before Christmas break, so until Christmas break, and then came back after, and it was fine. Well, the doctor said it was fine. And then I got hit, and I landed on it, and I broke it again. So because I was dumb and because I let the emotions get the best of me, that one small break led me to not playing basically a full year. So,
How long were you out with the?
What's that?
How long were you out with the second time you fell on it after the hit?
I was out for the rest of the season.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and like, I went to the hospital, and the doctor had to like push the bone a little bit, like to like a certain angle, so that I wouldn't need surgery. So, if that tells you anything about emotions, do your best to, like, take a breath before you do anything rational, because it can end up your gone.
Yeah, I mean, there was one game that I played a couple years ago where for some reason I couldn't bend one of my knees. It was really weird. I probably like dislocated it for like the day or something. We won that game 5-1. That was the funny part.
Really?
Yeah. No, it was just like I couldn't do much with my leg, and like I still managed to like save a bunch of shots. And I mean, it was weird, definitely, because I didn't know how it happened. I was just walking, and all of a sudden, I couldn't bend one of my knees.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you what happened there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm gonna switch positions. My iPad might die, so I'll just get into a charger.
Oh, okay, right. Sure. Okay. Good.
What was it like mentally being at all those games? I actually tore my ligament like a year and a half ago, and I actually had to miss a bunch of games too, and it was really hard for me.
Yeah. So basically, every year in the CHL, I had an injury. Like, I was out for at least, I think my shortest injury was 2 weeks. Which, I mean, in the long run, it's really not that much, because that's like 4 games out of the 68. But my OHL career started off like really rough, right? I got told like I was not gonna make the team, basically, and I had like a really good camp, and I win, and they're like, yeah, like, we'll keep you. And I was like, okay, sick. And we were playing in our exhibition games, and it was like obviously nerve-wracking, because you're going up against guys who are, instead of you being the biggest guy on the team now, you're one of either the middle pack or like one of the smaller guys. And I go, and it was our last exhibition game. It was against Peterborough at home, and it was like one of the first times I fully had the puck, and I was skating through the neutral zone, and I chipped it in, and it was literally like a nothing hit. It was like just an innocent hit, just like kind of, he was just getting hit in my way, and his leg wrapped around my leg and popped my knee, and my knee popped out and then popped right back in. So it stretched my MCL, and it was like I was out for like 6 weeks or something like that. But I was lucky because there was a big gap between exhibition games and regular season games. So like I only missed like 6 games or something like that. But I still wear a brace, and literally it's not because I need it. Like, my knee is fully healed, everything's fine, but I'm just so used to it that it's so broken down too. Like, I tape it every game, and it's so broken down. I'm just so used to it that like going back would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why did you decide to go to Acadia University to play hockey there?
So I decided to go to Acadia because, like, obviously I told you, Brady Burns, his dad was the coach. and he was he was able to watch me a whole bunch because he would come down to the Halifax games and stuff like that, and obviously he would go down to watch his son. And he was watching me, and he basically said, like, we feel really confident in you. Like, you're going to be someone who's going to be important for us, like, in the near future. And it felt like the thing is like, you go into, like, I watched one of the final games, UNB and Acadia, and it was like one of the fastest games I've ever watched. And it was like the fact that he's already confident in me, knowing just how I play, and he knows exactly where to fit me into his lineup, kind of thing. Like, it felt really good to hear that, and the fact that he was pushing for me so hard really helped me, like, make the decision. And I mean, it works out too. Like, it's a small town. It's kind of like where I grew up. My hometown is a smaller town, kind of thing, right? So that helps out. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was basically him being so confident in me and my abilities, and he said, I don't want you to change anything of your game, and I think you're going to help us produce a lot of points, kind of thing. So, yeah, like, I think confidence was the biggest key for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What was the transition like from the OHL to the QMJHL?
That's a good question, actually. It was pretty big, actually. I mean, obviously, they're both in the CHL, so it's the same kind of level, but it's kind of a different game, right? Like, I found, like, for the years that I was in the O, it was a lot more structured, kind of thing. Like, it was very systematic, kind of thing. And then when I switched over to the Q, it was very, like, it was almost like a running gun with systems implemented as well. So,
Yeah.
like, I found the switch over, like, it was more, you had to be, like, on your high horse at all times, kind of thing. Like, don't get me wrong, like, the O was an incredibly fast league, but it was like just the way that the Q played was always like a running gun kind of thing. It was always a dump and chase kind of thing, or like the guy was carrying it down the ice. So it was you always had to be on your high horse. So that was a big thing for me. So, well, in the year that I switched over, it might change back, kind of thing. I mean, other than that, there wasn't really much of a change. Like I said, like, it's the same kind of competition. It's the same level, same age of guys, kind of thing. So it was just new faces and new teams.
yeah, I mean, personally,
Yeah.
I don't know much about the CHL. All I know is that there's like 3 mini leagues inside of that giant league. And I mean, I know there's like the WHL, OHL, and the QMJHL. And but like, do you guys like play against other teams from other mini leagues?
No, so, like, the only time you'll cross over is in the Mem Cup. So, like, you'll put your league, so each league will play out theirs, and then whoever hosts it will have two, like, so, like, for instance, Halifax just hosted, well, obviously not this year, but the year before. And so Halifax and Rouen was in the Mem Cup, and then Guelph, and I can't remember the W team, but there was a Dub team in there too. So there was the 4 there, and then they competed for the Mem Cup. That's the only time that you'll cross over.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah,
for
but you can like trade in between teams, right?
like, between leagues.
Yeah, between leagues. Sorry.
Not really. So, like, my scenario was a little weird. I got released from Guelph, and then I was put on waivers. And then I was kind of like, each team was kind of like, no, like, we're okay, we don't need them, kind of thing. And then that's when it kind of got opened up to, as a free agent, to anybody. So, like, that's when St. John got a hold of me, kind of thing, and they're like, yeah, we'll take you. And then, like, the next day I was on a flight.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And my question is, what is your favorite NHL team, and who's your favorite player?
So I grew up, it kind of switched back and forth. I grew up, and it was Toronto for the most part, and then for my like a greater chunk, it was like Ottawa for a bit, and then now it's switched back to Toronto. I mean, I just think more of it's just like a city boy kind of thing. Like I'm 40 minutes outside of Toronto, so it's kind of my roots, I guess. Growing up, I really liked like Spezza and like Alfredson. But someone that like I watch like highlights and like skill development on is like Sidney Crosby a lot, because you really can't go wrong with him. Like he knows every aspect of the game very well, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
but learning and adapting to what he can do is really key, I find. But yeah, like that's kind of who I like have looked up to, kind of thing. Or I wouldn't say necessarily modeled my game after, but like definitely have been trying to implement like certain skills that they were able to do into my game as well.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like I live like 10 minutes outside of New York City, and I mean, I grew up a Rangers fan, will always be a Rangers fan, but like in your case, you watch Sidney Crosby a lot. I watch a lot of Frederick Anderson and Tuukka Rask, and especially Carter Hart, because I like the styles that they play, and I try to imitate them when I play hockey. So it kind of goes to show that like it doesn't really matter what team you cheer for. It's just like you watch who you want to watch and who you want to like model your stuff after, but also you put your own little spin on it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you said, it doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter what team you root for. Like you see someone who is naturally gifted or has worked his entire life off, or her life off, to get to where they want to be, and like you gotta go like, okay, well maybe I'll follow in their footsteps, even though they don't maybe not play for you, like New York, they might not play there, but they'll watch them and be like, yeah, I'm impressed with that, and I want to model my game after that, because you like their story, or you like how their style of play, or something like that. Like you said, it doesn't matter if they play for the team that you like. It just has to speak to you.
Yeah. I like what you were saying earlier about you don't like model your game after people. My goalie coach actually told me not to model my game after people, because then in the game you start trying to play like them and you're not used to it, and then it can mess you up. So I try to like have my own style of play, but kind of use different goalies like Tuukka Rask, Yaroslav Halak as kind of like a template for me to build my game off of.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, like I've developed my game into almost more of a defensive forward kind of thing, and I mean, it's nice to scoring a goal once in a while. Obviously, like I had 33 points this year or something like that. It was one of my best years, kind of thing. My last 2 years were two of my best years, and obviously it felt great, kind of thing. But honestly, like my number goal is plus minus, kind of thing. Like my entire career in the CHL, I never played a playoff game. I was always on a rebuild team. And when we were close, we were beaten out by 1 point in the playoffs, or unfortunately, like we clutched a spot this year, but unfortunately the season got ended early. But like I've always had a minus stat throughout the year, because like I said, like we were in a rebuild year. So that was my big goal, is always try to be a plus, like a plus player, right? And I'm pretty sure I achieved it in my last season, bare minimum, but like at least I got to that kind of thing. And that was always my biggest thing, right? I hate getting scored on. As much as I love scoring, I hate getting scored on even more, kind of thing. So I'll sit back, I'll block a shot just so it gets out of our zone, kind of thing. And I mean, you can watch people block shots, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. Like if you have the fear of it, you're not going to be able to. So you just have to be confident in yourself. You're going to have to tough it out if it hurts, kind of thing. But like you said, you can't model blocking shots off of someone. You just have to be able to do it yourself. And like I just find like I'm not watching anyone blocking shots. I'm just doing it, and then I'll model my game after someone else when I do have the puck, or when I do get an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, for
Yeah.
example, like I'm like a bit above average in terms of height. In my like age group, I'm like 5'10" on skates, something like that. Um, so basically, like I use like Ben Bishop when I'm like standing up to like um since I'm a bit tall, I can see over them. I can peek around. Uh, in terms of the butterfly, I kind of use JS Jaguar. I like his style a lot. With like you use your stick to cover the 5 hole, but you don't always have to flare your legs completely. And I know a bunch of goalie coaches like emphasize the flaring part, and I understand why. But like you can also um protect a lot more net with your legs farther apart and your stick just in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like you implement different parts that you like, kind of thing, right? So you've adjusted to your stats, right? So like you said, you're a little bit above average in height. It's a good thing that you're able to pick apart certain aspects on different things and how you like to model your game. Obviously, right? So like, for instance, like I was 7 inches taller than the average 10-year-old when I was 10. I think that was the stat. I don't know, around there. Um, so I never had a growth spurt. I was just always continuously growing, kind of thing. And I've always been the biggest guy on my team, kind of thing, right? So like, I mean, I never really had to adapt to being bigger, kind of thing. I mean, I've always been the one standing in front of the net or the one taking the shot. I was never the skill guy. I was never that kind of a player. I was always just used for either speed or size, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I got lucky in that scenario, and like obviously that's a blessing for a hockey player to just never have to find that coordination again. Like, but yeah, like I find watching, like I hate watching myself, like play, but the best thing you'll do is watch yourself
Yeah.
because you notice like, oh, okay, like I'm not skating hard enough there, or I'm not moving my feet enough there, or like for a goalie, for instance, like I'm not exactly familiar with everything that you guys do, but like I didn't get quick enough. I didn't get across quick enough, or I should have stood up there instead of slid across, right? Something like that. Like it is big, and then watching yourself and then modeling yourself, like watching a clip on one of your favorite goalies or a goalie that you like, is also very helpful, like you guys said, because then you're like, okay, well, he does it this way. Maybe I can adapt to going that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had video review on our team last year, and it was really helpful. And as much as I hate watching myself get scored on, and the entire team watching it too, it's helpful at the same time because you could be like, all right, well, this wasn't just my fault. The defense were late back checking, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a help to the entire team at the same time.
Yeah. Like for instance, like we do video every day. Like if it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we always do it before every game. We watch game film on the other team. Every team does it.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're popped up on the screen, you're like, oh, here we go again, kind of thing, and you don't know if it's a good or a bad play, kind of thing. And sometimes like you'll be sitting there like, oh, yeah, but this was a good shift of mine. Like I remember this shift well, like it was a good shift, and then your coach goes, well, you could have done this better, and you're sitting there like, thought I did something good, and they're like, this is what you could have done.
Yeah.
And this, you need to move your feet a little bit quicker here, and this is what you need to do, right? And like, yes, at the first couple of times you hear that, it sucks, but like once you get used to it and you're like, okay, this is actually really helpful, like it sticks in the back of your mind the next game or next practice, and you're like, yeah, okay, like I can see what he's saying here. Like for instance, like for center swinging really low, like you might be thinking you're swinging really low, and because it's so quick, it happens in the blink of an eye. You might be already 5 feet past your winger, and that pass is missed because you went too early, and you're like, well, I was there. But then you watch the game film and you're like, oh, I actually wasn't there.
Yeah.
They're kind of thing. And it is helpful, right? Because then you, like I've been told, like, especially in the D zone, to slow down a little bit because I was always a little bit ahead of the play. So it was very helpful. Like I was just like, okay, go a little bit slower, right? Even if I was the last one out, like I would catch up to them, kind of thing, right? So like, it's a little nerve wracking, especially when your whole team's sitting around and you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of the team. But I mean, like at the end of the day, everyone's getting critiqued, and it helps like a huge amount. Like you'll notice a big jump if you're able to watch yourself as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, I don't really like, we don't have like team scheduled videos for our team. But my dad occasionally takes videos, and he's technically sort of my goalie coach when I don't go to like a real goalie coach.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's watched me over time and he knows what he's talking about. And yeah, so basically, I'm gonna ask like if he could like film a bunch of my games and like we go through it. But like also he has a pretty good memory, so he also remembers a bunch of things. And he like he makes sure to tell me what I did wrong and what I did good and what should I work on. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure every dad is like that.
Yeah, but my
Right.
coaches aren't like that to me because they
Yeah,
focus on the players more.
yeah, that's
And they
true.
basically just either if I have a bad game, they'll let me know that I have a bad game, but
But
they
they
don't
won't.
tell me what I can do to fix it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like once you get to like into like a junior level, there's gonna be a coach there for you, kind of thing. Like, so like my summer job is an arena. I Zamboni sometimes, or like I'm an arena guy and a Zamboni. I also coach, um, and one of the main coaches there is actually a goalie coach for one of the junior guys. And like it's so funny because I'll go out and shoot, and the arena owner is he's a goalie coach as well, and he gave me so many tips and tricks on like where to stand if you're screening, where to shoot, where to do all this. Like they gave me so many tips and tricks about um, like how like what the goalie can do and what the goalie can't do. So like if you're too far out, you're just going to stay back. If like if you're screening like a tip, you're just going to stay back because you'll have way too much time. But if you're too far on top, like they can just push you out of the way. So like he's like, oh yeah, go about 4 feet in front of the crease because then you're pressured to stay back and you net a little bit because then there's like that little timing gap is like right in that sweet spot of like if you tip it properly, it's very hard to save in
Yeah.
that time zone.
Yeah.
Right. So like he gave me all these little tips and tricks and stuff like that. So like it is helpful, right? But like for instance, like your dad filming you, a guy named Christian Prop, he played for Barry, the Barry Colts, and North Bay Italian. I played with him for I think 3 or 4 years in minor, and his dad filmed every single game. Every single game he filmed, and he was watching video every single time, all the time, right? And like, I mean, he was a great goalie, right? Like, obviously, he made a good career in the OHL kind of thing. So, but like, just there, like, he can watch each little save, each little thing, right? And it's sometimes it's annoying, especially if you're having an off game. But like, sometimes the off games are actually the best games to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, there are like some games where I had like 3 games in a day, and there was like obviously one game where I definitely had an off game, and it sucks, but everyone has them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
our hockey seasons are like 20 games, 20, 30 games, and I average like a bad game once every like 10, 11 games. So they happen. You lay an egg. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, a guy named Max Chaikovich, he was just drafted to Tampa Bay, and he told me that one of his scouts for Tampa said around if you have an off game around every 5 to 7 games, you're averaging like really good because obviously like you want to be your best all the time, but sometimes you can't be. So like if you're having a little bit of a rough game, like try to make it very limited kind of thing. So like if that's like 1 every 5 to 7, or for you like 1 every one, like one 1 out of every 10, like that's very solid, obviously, because no one's perfect. Not everyone's going to have a shutout every game or a hat trick every game, or right, like things are going to happen. Things you're going to be off, right? Even if it's your legs are sore or something's going on in the background, like that other people can't see, right? Something's on the back of your mind, kind of thing. Obviously, we're trained to focus that kind of stuff out, right? But sometimes life gets kind of hard. So like, if you can focus that out as much as possible, I think that's like one of the biggest things, right? So I think yeah, like if you can minimize your off games, you'll be successful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you were saying
So
earlier about screens, personally, that's what I think is the hardest shot to save as a goalie. Like I just had a 3-on-3 tournament. I let 3 goals in 3 games. All 3 were because of screens. I mean, if you don't get bodies in front of the net, it's really easy for the goalie to stop the puck.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Especially when you get to the older leagues, right? Like you go from one big goalie out of like I don't know how many teams are in each league in minor, right? Like you'll face probably one big goalie in 10 teams kind of thing, right? Like you'll face a hot goalie once, but then once you get into a higher age group, like you're sitting there like they're all good. They're all going to stop pucks. There's no flukes. There's no gimmies. There's no lucky bounces kind of thing, right? And if they are, it's not once every 3 or 4 games. It's once like a half a season that you'll get them kind of thing, right? And you just see it as often, right? Because you don't have like the shared play, right? So you'll have like, for instance, I had a 20 goalie last year who started 95% of the games, and he barely made mistakes. Like I told you before, he had 70 shots against in 1 game, right? I think he let in. I don't even think he let that many in. I think he let maybe like out of those 70, I think he let 5 or 6.
Wow.
Right. I mean,
that's good.
in a game that sucks because like we're now gonna have to go and score 6 goals.
Yeah, that's like a 9-15 save percentage. So.
But like, look at the save percentage that he's got on that game, right? Like all it. And the thing was, we played that game was against Moncton, and Moncton was going on a Mem Cup run.
Yeah.
So they were a good team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So those are all the questions I have, Max. Do you have any more questions?
No.
All right. Thank you so much for this interview. It was split over 2 days.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. This was like actually really fun, and we definitely enjoyed this. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck next season.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.